So some other techniques, pre-therapy change. Solution-focused brief therapy sees that there is value in simply reaching out to talk to someone. And so the act of scheduling an appointment or a time to come in and visit with you is already taking control of the problem. And so when they come in and they sit down with you, that's one thing that you've got. You know, you're already doing this because you said, enough. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to go get some help for it. And so, good job. How did you do that? That's incredible. How did you do that? Approach each session as if it were your last. Remember the brief part. Rating scales. Rating scales become very important. So if I say I am angry, that's helpful. But if I will say my anger is an 8 out of 10, you know, 3 times a week, that is way more helpful, because next time I come in, if I say my anger is a 9 out of 10, what we were doing didn't help. We can throw that out and we can try something else. Or if I come back in and, you know, it was an 8 and now it's a 7.5, holy cow, that is incredible. How did it get to a 7.5? That's amazing. Let's understand that. Let's do more of that. So language, remember, language is a big piece of solution-focused brief therapy. We're looking for a language that presupposes change. So not if something is going to happen, not if you start to exercise, but when you start to exercise. Formula first session task, it gives us a technique. So, you know, before the next session, notice what happens that you want to continue doing in your life. That's kind of cool. Exception questions and the miracle question. We've talked about exceptions earlier, but the miracle question, you know, here's kind of the miracle question as I deliver it to clients. You know, I've got a lot of really strange questions, and I have one now that I would like to ask you. Would you be willing to, I don't know, use your imagination for a little bit? And so then I'll say, you know, suppose you go to bed tonight and while you're sleeping, a miracle happens. You don't know a miracle happened, but something happened while you were sleeping. What's the first thing you notice before you even open your eyes that tells you a miracle happened? Really, that's interesting. What next? And what next? And who do you come across first in your life? And how do they know? What might they notice has changed about you that tells them that a miracle happened? And so, so the miracle question is really a way to free the person up from this belief that the problem is always going to be there. They're never going to be able to get away from it. It's always going to be there. And so that is, you know, that's the miracle question. So it helps in that way, but it also helps because as clients are talking about the day after the miracle or the day of the miracle, really what they're telling you is what they want out of their time with you. That is what they are hoping to accomplish from being with you. And solution talk, talking about change produces change. All right, the last of the postmodern theories, we have narrative therapy. Narrative therapy comes to us from mostly from David Epstein and Michael White, and that is these two gentlemen here. You know, what it's saying is the constructed meaning in the stories clients tell. So that's truth, the constructed meaning in the stories clients tell. Stories shape our reality. They constitute what we see, feel, and do. They develop from dialogue we have in social context. So this is a lot of repeat from what we were talking about. But just a reminder that it is getting at the subjective experience of people. So here's an example. We aren't clumsy. We decide we're clumsy, and then we select evidence in our stories to support it. So in narrative therapy, problems are, clients have these internalized messages from dominant culture, a little bit of feminism coming out here, and these messages often work against them. So in counseling, what we're trying to do is help clients gain a sense of, agency, freedom from the dominant stories that are oppressive, and create a new story. And so enable clients to modify painful stories in new and fresh language. And so think about it, a lot like a book that, chapters 1 through 18 were the first 18 years of your life, but now which of these chapters do you want to go back and reauthor and do differently? How's the next chapter going to be? What's chapter 25 going to be like? So, helping clients create a new storyline. The counselor really becomes a co-author. So it's quite collaborative. The client is expert. Counselor is helping to facilitate change. There's quite a lot of active listening happening, taking this not knowing stance, listening without judging, listening for problem-saturated stories where people are getting stuck, and then helping them understand that and freeing themselves, listening for signs that they're competent, that they have strengths that they don't know. So listening for details that speak to their capabilities.